then as those walks, notice that their heart rate is lower and lower, they're able to go faster at the same heart rate, then we can introduce a once a week run. But again, I'm capping the intensity for sure, keeping them in that low intensity range for a while before we start to extend the duration, before we start to push into the higher zones, before we do any kind of interval work is like a ways off for that population. So using pretty hard heart rate caps is a way that I would do that. Or if you want to use a heart rate monitor like the talk test type tool that we've talked about before. And then aside from the actual running, walking, interval drill, whatever kind of work you do, I would have them lifting weights in some capacity, involving the lower extreme, involving the legs, involving some calf training, maybe even if they're able to tolerate eventually, depending on where they're starting from, a little bit of some plyometric type stuff, just to, if to the extent that I have control over, shoring up some of their, tendons and ligaments and soft tissues in the legs and calves and ankles and some things that can be common problem areas, as well as just introducing some variation to their training, especially if it's somebody who's wanting to train for running on a treadmill, where it's going to be kind of monotonic, meaning just doing
Hmm.
the same thing repeatedly, versus if somebody's running like where I do in my area. I live like at the top of a hill. There's a lot more variation, ups and downs and turns and corners and terrain, which I view as a benefit, compared with steady in the same exact movement, which would often come with a little bit higher risk of overuse stuff. So yeah, building the base of fitness before pushing into higher intensities at all, and then doing some preparatory work outside of running in the gym with lifting weights, plyos, things like that would be a way that I would kind of get somebody started with this process.